Hi folks, it's me Michaela and welcome back to my channel. It is a little bit long time no see right now as I went on vacation and I just didn't make any videos. I did have a plan to make this reading vlog that was like reading beach read on a beach. And then I read like 7 pages of beach read. I literally read no books while I was on vacation for 2 weeks. So that didn't happen. But I did read beach read when I got back. I've been back at work for a few days. Reality, hello, ooh. But I read Beach Read, liked it. I'll talk about it more in my August wrap up at the end of the month. But today I'm starting a reading vlog and I'm going to be starting Pageboy by Elliot Page. I think, was it like a month ago, maybe even 2 months ago now? I read Crying in H Mart. It was the first memoir and like nonfiction book that I read. I don't know why I like nonfiction, like it is nonfiction. I don't know why I quoted that. It's truly nonfiction. But I read that and I really enjoyed it, and I was like, oh, I should read more memoirs. This is kind of nice, but like didn't really have anything else planned out to read. However, I did, while I was on vacation, started watching Umbrella Academy, which I know like I'm so behind the times with that. My bad. Like it's like now that's like the final season just started. I'm like, let me start that show. But I started watching Umbrella Academy. I'm not even done season 1. Like I'm only a few episodes in, okay? So like don't spoil it for me. But of course, Elliot Page is in Umbrella Academy. Also didn't know Elliot Page was Canadian somehow. So I was shocked to learn that. But I was like, oh my God, didn't everybody like Pageboy when it came out? I feel like it was pretty popular. And I was like, I should read it. And then I like went on Libby and it was available immediately. So here we are. I'm going to be reading it. So I have to go to work. What's new? I'm running late. What's new? But wanted to give this a quick little intro for my first reading vlog back from vacation. I'm going to be starting Pageboy today while I'm at work, and I'll let you know my thoughts once I'm a little way into it. Okay. Hello, it is Friday. I just got home from work. Thank God it is the weekend because I am exhausted. Boy, do I ever need a nap, but at least I have a coffee. So I'm now a little under halfway through reading Pageboy. So I'm like 40 something percent of the way through. I really have not been able to put this book down. It's just been like very page turning readable. I will say I am finding a bit of difficulty sometimes following where in Elliot Page's life events are happening. It bounces around a lot. It's not like a linear timeline kind of story, which was kind of hard at the beginning because I was like confused, but now it's kind of growing on me. I like it. It feels very like a conversation with him, like his stream of consciousness kind of description of his life. It feels very like natural and organic because it's bouncing around between different points of his life, and it's like you can see how this then linked to this thought that brings you to this next area of the story that he's telling. So if I like it, it makes it feel more intimate in a way because it does feel like a personal conversation rather than like a plotted out book. And I'm really enjoying that aspect of it, to feel so like connected with the author of a memoir, because I feel like even though when I was reading Crying in H Mart I really loved it and I found it very powerful and beautiful writing, it did have still a bit of a sense of like that barrier between the author and the reader because it was so well formatted in a way. And it's not that this is like a bad format for a book, but it's just like that small difference in the writing of the memoir, I have found it feels more connected to the reader as an individual versus readers of the book as a whole. I don't know if this makes any sense, but I hope like you kind of can understand what I'm saying. I feel like my thoughts are not coming out straight. I will say that there's definitely like a lot of trigger warnings for this book. Elliot has dealt with a lot of struggles in his life and describes those feelings, and I think it's an important thing to know going into this that there is talks of ED, SA, and definitely like homophobia and hate towards LGBTQ plus individuals, as well as discussions of gender dysphoria. I feel like some of those things are expected when you're going into Elliot Page's memoir, if you know the bare minimum about Elliot Page, as I feel I do going into this. Maybe if you know more of his story already, like all of that is expected given what you know, but just, putting that out there. I do also really like that he is taking the time to acknowledge the Indigenous communities of Canada, and when discussing Canada, using the Indigenous names for places. I think that was like a really nice touch. I cannot personally talk on if that is like good, bad, great, yay, needs some work. Like I can't really comment on that because I am not part of the Indigenous community, but I thought it was a nice change of pace to read as a white person. So I don't know how much weight that holds, but there you go. That's another thought I had. I also am just really finding it very enlightening, very informative for me to be reading a memoir of someone from LGBTQ plus community, just because I consider myself an ally and I like to think myself relatively knowledgeable, but I obviously, as like a straight cis person, have never had these experiences. And I think to continue being supportive of the community and to continue being a good ally, it's important that I educate myself more on the experiences that the people in this community is having and have had, and perhaps through that, learn how I can better support the community. I hope that all makes sense too. So anyway, it's like I'm having a good time with this book in the sense that I cannot put it down and it is enthralling. I'm having a bad time with this book in the fact that parts of Elliot's story are so like heart-wrenching. It's hard to read the hurt, but it is written so well. So that's kind of my thoughts on the book so far. I think I'm going to probably read a bit more tonight. I'll probably give another update maybe tomorrow morning and then finish the book and give a final thoughts. I do usually like to do 2 check-ins for a book, especially if I'm doing like a reading vlog where I'm only reading one book, because otherwise it's going to be like really short and I feel it's kind of lame to be like intro, halfway, done. Just my own personal feelings on the matter. But yeah, I would definitely like recommend this memoir so far. I think it's great. As with my previous nonfiction memoir reading vlog, I'll link that for you somewhere, but I will not be rating this book because I find it weird to be rating somebody's life story, yada yada yada. So I'll talk about like my thoughts and my feelings on the book and the writing. However, I will not be giving like a star rating at the end of the video. Just doesn't feel right to me, so I will not be doing it. But I will say so far, it's really good. So yeah, I'll see you for the next update. If I happen to accidentally speed run my way through this book this evening, then it'll also be the end of this video, but I think it probably won't be. I think it'll probably be somewhere around 70% through. I'll give you another little update, read the last little bit. We'll see where we are. Okay. Yeah. Boo. It's me. I know, you're shocked. What am I doing here halfway through my own video? But it's Saturday. I'm having a very lazy day. And although I told myself I was going to have a very lazy day, actually I told myself that I was just going to have a very lazy, restful weekend. I'm not very good at that. So I've just like have been restful, lazy, whatever, for the entire first half of today. But also while doing so, feeling bad about it. So yay, I'm just so good at resting. But also, like, if I tried to be productive, I also would not feel good about that because I told myself I should rest. Anyway, that's a me problem. I'm here because I only have 30 pages ish left of Pageboy by Elliot Page, and I did say I wanted to make another little check-in moment before I finish the book. So I'm here, although it does feel at this point kind of silly to be doing this when there's only like 30 pages left. But look, I'm sticking to my word. That is what I'm doing. I'm dedicated. I'm also tired. Maybe I should have a nap. Anyway, I'm going to finish the book today for sure. I have been just like devouring this book, and I think it's partially, for sure, 100% it's because it's a very well written book. It's very intriguing. I think the way Elliot tells his story is very like insightful and emotional, and it's just like, it's a very easy book to read, in the sense of easy being the act of reading the book happens quickly, because obviously, like I said previously, a lot of the topics in this are not easy to read, but I just think that they're dealt in a very thoughtful and, as not delicate, but like what's like the word for thoughtful, but like it's a little bit more academic. It's precise. No, I feel like there's a word for it. I can't think of the word. I cannot think of the word that I want to use. It's not gentle, it's not delicate, but it's taking the care that something deserves, I guess. Let's go with that. This is fun. I'm really glad I'm making this check-in when my brain isn't functioning. But I had a thought when I started this. Oh, it's also because why reading it has been going so quickly for me. I believe it's partially because I also haven't really read much the last 2 weeks that I was on vacation. And so like, it's like I miss reading, which is like a good feeling to have. Like, I just want to be devouring books because I miss the act of reading, and I forgot how much it feels good to read. It's like self-care to read, to just take time to do something that is purely just enjoyment for you. You don't read for, or at least I don't, like when I'm reading as my hobby, it's like I'm not reading to increase a skill, I'm not reading to complete a task. It's just like the act of reading is enjoyable itself, and every aspect of reading is enjoyable to me, unless I'm reading a book I hate, I guess. But also sometimes it's fun to hate a book, let's be honest. I don't hate this book though, but I'm just like in a excited to read again kind of time. And then so pairing that feeling with this highly intriguing and thoughtful and well put together memoir has been just like a fun couple little days for me, that's for sure. Reading it very quickly. This is also like, I feel like it's a very well length memoir. I think it's like 220-ish pages, around there. So it's very like short and condensed, but it gets what it needs to across. Like, it definitely doesn't feel drawn out, and everything is like very intentional, so it's working well for me. Again, really like it. I would say I recommend it. But again, I feel like the memoirs I've been reading have been like memoirs that everybody probably already knows and read, potentially, if you're like a memoir reading person. But if you're like me and not a memoir reading person, I would say so far the 1 3/4 memoirs I have read have both been very good, and I would recommend. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I don't think like content wise in the memoir, many of my thoughts have changed since the last time I was talking to you. I still find it a little hard to follow because it's not written in any linear manner. And I think my brain partially just enjoys having like a linear basis for a story, okay? Even if it's like a time jumpy story, I like it when time is clear. That's what my brain enjoys. It helps me, I think, understand things. So not having that aspect has been like a tad difficult for me in reading it, just because my brain naturally wants to like put things in line in the context of what else was happening around it. And of course, this whole memoir is things that are happening. And then so when Elliot is talking about this thing, I'm trying to be like, oh, so that was between this and this was happening at that point, like in my brain, where that context isn't necessarily needed to understand the point he's trying to get across in that part of the book, but my brain wants the context, you know? So that's kind of like my biggest con of the book, I guess, of the memoir, of the writing. But again, I think that's like a personal me thing, preference wise, and not necessarily like a negative for the book, because I also said that like that con itself has the positive of feeling very intimate. So like I get it, and it's like the book isn't written to be linear, it's written like based off of like topics and like grouped that way. So that's just fully a me thing. It's fully a me thing, and I'm aware of that. I already said all this, so I don't know why I'm repeating myself. But yeah, I feel the same as before. That's what I came here to do, and I'm just taking like, I don't know, like 5 minutes to say it. But I'm going to finish the book. I'm going to come give my final thoughts. Are they going to be very different from right now? Who knows? Maybe something like is going to change in the last 30 pages that I was just like really not expecting. Books can do that, though it's like a memoir, so I don't know how. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Everything could change still. In conclusion, I'm having a good time, but sometimes I'm confused. Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna be back when I finish the book because this clip is a disaster. She cold. The microphone's cold. It's almost like it's made out of metal. Who did that? Well, hello there. I don't know why I say hello every time I turn the camera on, even though this is all within one video, but that's what she did. So it is, in fact, actually the next day, but I finished reading Pageboy last night. I just didn't want to film because the lighting would have been horrible. So I wanted to wait for it to be the next morning. Finished the book. Unsurprisingly, did not change many opinions for the final 30 pages of the book. I still really loved reading this book. I think it's very well written. I think Elliot Page is very talented and a very good storyteller. It was very lovely to be able to read his experiences. I think the end of the memoir had this kind of nice full circle-ish but happier ending kind of moment thing to it, where we get to the present day. I mean, especially after reading all of the hardships that Elliot has been through, physically, emotionally, and with inner turmoil of, gender dysphoria and figuring out his identity. It was really nice to read the end of this memoir and know that he's in a much better and happier place now. Obviously, he still faces a lot of difficulties being a trans man in Hollywood. There's a lot of transphobia in this world, and I think it's a well-known fact that Hollywood just sucks in general, I think. And going through such large life events in the public eye, I can't even imagine how difficult that is. So to do all of that and then also write a memoir that is so telling and feels so intimate, I think is extremely brave, and I'm really glad I decided to read this memoir. I don't know why I'm feeling emotional about it, but I think it was a really big thing for him to do, and I think it was important because I feel very enlightened on some of the experiences that trans people go through discovering themselves. And reading this has really made me realize that I need to read a lot more queer stories. I need to read more LGBTQ plus centered stories and experiences and educate myself on that more. As someone who is straight and cis and I can just kind of go through the world, my life is so easy in comparison, and I think I need to start educating myself more. I guess that's my takeaway from this. I feel I just rambled a lot. Sorry. Yeah, it's weirdly was just hit me. I'm feeling some feels right now, and I don't know exactly why. But like I said, I'm really glad I chose to read this memoir. It was kind of a spur of the moment thing I decided to do, and I think it was a really good decision for me personally, and I would suggest reading this memoir. I really, this year, I made one of my reading goals to be to read more nonfiction, and it's why I put Crying in H Mart on my 24 books in 2024 list. And, I read that and I enjoyed it, and now I've read Elliot Page's memoir. I feel this is a literary genre that I have not tapped into because I did not think it was something I would enjoy, and I was comfortable and happy to be reading all of my little fun fiction books. But I think this is so much more important for me as a person to be reading, is more nonfiction, more real life experiences that do not align with my own, so I can just know more in this world instead of staying in my comfortable little bubble. So I'm glad I made that a reading goal for myself, and that I'm actually accomplishing it. I don't know how many more memoirs or nonfiction I might read this year. I don't have any other ones planned, but I think definitely moving forward, I'm going to be looking at memoirs more often as things to be keeping on my radar. So if you have any memoirs that you've really loved, please let me know. I would love some recommendations, or other nonfiction that's very helpful for like educating without feeling textbooky, I would love that. I still want something that feels very story and individual based versus facts, just like personally for my enjoyment. I'm not like against facts. It's not like I have a thing against facts and science. I just right now don't think that's the kind of nonfiction I'm looking for, but we'll see. I guess I should keep an open mind, be open to everything. Maybe I'll love a textbook like nonfiction novel, who knows? But that's kind of the video. Just gonna end it there like that. If you happen to like this video, make sure to give it a like, give it a little thumbs up. If you happen to like me, consider subscribing. I'd be happy to have you. Like I said, let me know your favorite nonfiction and memoir books. Have you read Elliot Page's memoir? What were your thoughts on it? I would love to know other people's feelings on the book. And with that, I hope you're having a wonderful day today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.